Divorce is a court judgment ending a marriage. This court requires a legal reason for the divorce. That is, sadly though, the divorce bills aim to protect the parties in a marriage. We are not destroying the family but protecting it if the couple has reconcilable issue. Hindi ito negative. Dahil at the end of the day, most affected one ay yung bata. Lalo na kung nakikita niyang araw-araw na yung kanyang magulang ay nag-aaway, it may affect her or his mental. And also, may mga bata tayo kinesthetic na kung saan na-adapt nila kung ano yung nakikita nila. And divorce bills wants to protect the right of individual and protects the treating effects for the children.
We believe that divorce should not be legal in the Philippines. So I would like to start by defining what divorce is. Divorce is a legal dissolving, termination, and ending of a legally valid marriage. A divorce ends a legal marriage and declares the spouses to be single again. We know that divorce and remarriage is a widespread problem these days. Many Christians know the pain in divorce, some have remarried. The Catechism says, divorce is a grave offense against the natural law. It claims to break the contract to which the spouses freely consented to live with each other till death. Divorce does injury to the covenant of salvation, of which sacramental marriage is the sign, contracting a new union even if it is recognized by civil law. Add to the gravity of the rapture, the remarried spouses is that in a situation of public and permanent adultery. In the Catholic Church, teaching on divorce and remarriage is anchored squarely on Christ's teaching. According to Luke 16, verse 18, everyone who divorces his wife and marries commits adultery, and he who marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. Hindi kami pabor sa diborsyo. Bakit? Ito ay salungat sa paniniwala ng Romano Katoliko. Ang Pilipinas ay halos binubuo ng 86% ng populasyon ay Katoliko. Ano man ang pananaw ng tao sa isyu ng diborsyo, napakahalaga sa atin ang sinabi ng Panginoon, ng Diyos sa aklat ng Malakias chapter 2 verse 16. Nasusuklaw ako sa mga naghihiwalay, sabi ni Yahweh, ang Diyos ng Israel. Ayon pa sa Biblia, ang plano ng Diyos sa pag-aasawa ay buong buhay na pagsasama. Sabi sa Mateo Kabanata 19 verse 16, kaya't hindi na sila dalawa. Ang pinagsama ng Diyos ay huwag paghihiwalayin ng tao. Sa Diyos na mismo ang may ayaw sa diborsyo. So, bakit pa natin kailangan itong hayaan na maging legal sa Pilipinas?
We have an existing annulment, which is a way of separation for the couple. Divorce is not different at all, except that divorce is much easy and convenient. If we said divorce, it doesn't mean that couples should separate each other, even in a small issues only. But actually, this divorce bill encourages and empowering individuals to be independent. So, official announcement that something such as a law, agreement, or marriage is no longer exists. Divorce can also be a protective tool against domestic violence, which is the strongest reason why it should be exist. So, yun, huwag tayo magpapanila. Kung alam mo na nga na inaabuso ka, sinasaktan ka, magpapatuloy ka pa ba? Di ba hindi na? So, yun, kaya dapat natin ipaglaban yung karapatan natin bilang tao.
Ngunit hindi pa rin kami maniniwala dyan sa diborsyo dahil hindi diborsyo ang sagot sa ganitong suliranin. Sa aming nakalap na impormasyon, meron tayong batas na anti-violence against women and children noong 2004. At ang batas na ito ay nabibilang ng 30% ng pagbaba sa krimen na may kinalaman sa pananakit sa kababaihan. Kapag may napatunayan na may pang-aabuso na nangyayari, hahayaan natin ang korte na magpasya ukol sa mga susunod na hakbang. Hindi natin pwede sabihin divorce agad ang solusyon. Kung gano'n ang mangyayari, bakit hindi ba malungkot ang mga batang mayroong hiyak na imahing ang kanyang pamilya?
Republic Act 9262 only talks about protecting women and their children. Divorce is not talking about the women only. Tinutukoy yung divorce is every individual. It doesn't it doesn't only specify the gender. Hindi siya tumutukoy sa isang gender lamang or sa babae or sa lalaki lamang. Ang Republic Act ay tumutukoy sa babae lamang at sa kanyang mga anak. Ang divorce ay wider bill na kung saan ang lalaki ay pwede rin mag-apila tungkol sa divorce. Also, we are favor in divorce because divorce bill because if the marriage got dysfunctional or if the relationship goes to toxicness, and if that happens, it leads to abusing. Parent abusing, authoritarian parent abusing. And it leads to lack of empathy, lack of love, respect, destruction of personal position, and mostly the situation is that children are being used to tell a lie about the real thing. And in this situation, the unconditional love becomes a conditional love because you are staying only to a relationship para sa sake ng bata. You're staying sa relationship para sa bata. Hindi mo iniisip ng kapakanan mo that you are the one suffering from abusing, from any kind of harassment. At kung tinutukoy mo, Republic Act 9262, tumutukoy lang po siya sa babae at hindi siya tumutukoy sa wider audience.
It seems pretty clear naman po na on what Trisha said, that whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality, then it's a sin also. It also affects children. It can cause childhood trauma to their children, insecurities, at pwede rin sila mag-resist sa kanilang magulang. At pwede rin and they will suffer distress, anger, anxiety, and disbeliefs.
At about sa sinasabi mo na divorce bill, ayun na nga. According to the provision, pinapangalagaan nito yung sanctity ng marriage, tapos ngayon magpo-propose kayo ng divorce bill, hindi kayo basta magjowa para maghiwalay na lang basta-basta.
Divorce should be implemented. Based on the Office of Solicitor General, there is an average of 28% couples who wish that their marriage will be separated, and that was still on 2012. How much more on this time of 2022? So there is a big chance that case of favorable in divorce is increasingly too. Also, divorce should be legalized, especially if there is domestic abuse, cheating, and so on. So bakit mag-stay ka pa sa taong na sinasaktan ka na? Paano kung yung pagmamahalan nyo, wala nang pagmamahal sa relationship nyo, puro na lang kayo away, binubugbog ka na, so mag-stay ka pa ba? Magpapakamantil ka pa ba sa isang tao? Forcing people to stay together when they no longer love each other would be hard for society and bad for families. The most common violence against women in the Philippines is the intimate partner violence, but married women in the Philippines have no way out. The abuse can be verbal, physical, and psychological. According to the annual comparative statistic on violence against women 2004 to 2011, wife battery ranked highest of 49% at all forms of violence and abuse against women. One of the reasons why divorce should be legalized in the Philippines because women nowadays lack confidence because they know that there are no laws to support them. Couples remain living together due to lack of the law that would allow them to legally and properly part ways and seek the peace and happiness that they couldn't find in the present partner.
In addition, not every relationship can be fixed, making divorce a necessary step in the process of healing and moving on to a healthier future. Eliminating the possibility slams the door to those vulnerable to the damages of a toxic relationship and prevents them from creating a better future from themselves and their children.
We do not need to separate your family because your family is the most important to you. So as a child, we are sad when our parents are separated. So as a parents, they don't deserve to separate their families because if they broke up, your children are affected. The effect for our children when you divorce each other, they feel shame, depressed, pain, and lack of knowledge. So as a parents, if you have a plan to divorce, you need to think first how your child feels and how they survive. Actually, if you are a single mom, you handle everything for your child, but not all the time you also need an elder for you. So for me, the anti-divorce is the best because the anti-divorce showing strength so as not to break the family. We don't need to divorce because divorce can destructive in our life. No divorce, no pain. So as a divorced person, it's not good to see in other people because when you married for a person, if you have each other want to broke your own family. So we should think first what is the good way for your child because your child, they have a future for for their life, so means you don't want to see them successful someday. So as a parents, don't lose your family and think of each other lives.
Divorce can also be a protective tool against domestic violence, which is the strongest reason why it should exist. In other countries, we found a significant reduction of spousal conflict and extreme partner violence once divorce was an accessible option. What are the positive impacts of divorce? That's why one of the most prominent positive outcomes of divorce is it creates a healthier household environment for everybody involved. It also shows children that divorce does not necessarily need to be a negative event.
So, pag ikaw binigyan ng freedom for divorce, more likely, di ba, about sa sinabi kanina ni Lea May, yung doon sa abuses, tapos kailangan na ng divorce kasi nga na-abuse yung babae, di ba, more likely, your next marriage or your next partner, hindi nyo ba naisip na gagawin niya, paulit-ulit na gagawin niya doon, imbis na, di ba, meron tayong korte, may korte tayo na siya in charge doon, siya ang gagawa kung anong hakbang na susunod ang dapat gawin. Bakit hindi natin isaalang-alang doon, hindi divorce kaagad ang ating solusyon sa ganung suliranin? Mas mataas pa yung chance na nagde-divorce ka, so yung paniniwala mo na iiba, mas naniniwala ka na kaya mong hiwalayan, kaya mong saktan, di ba? Sa next partner mo, sa next marriage mo. So gusto nyo ba paulit lang ng paulit na nangyayari yun?
In addition to what Trisha said, separate or divorce can affect their children, and it can cause childhood trauma. And the childhood trauma that he experienced, when the day will come in the right age, he will not try to love because he thinks that love is no longer exists. He will listen to his brain instead of his heart.
A divorce law will provide a remedy that Article 36 does not. Divorce does not concern itself with validity or invalidity of a marriage. It terminates a marriage based on a ground that occurred during the marriage, which makes the marital relationship no longer tenable regardless of the spouse's psychological constitution. A divorce law will provide a straightforward remedy to a marital failure, which it will benefit Filipinos wherever they are.
Numerous studies have found that parental separation and divorce is associated with a range of negative outcomes for younger children and adolescents across various domains. Parental separation and divorce is associated with academic difficulties, including lower grades and prematurely dropping out of school, and greater destructive behaviors, example of being oppositional with authority figures, getting into fights, stealing, and using and abusing alcohol and illegal drugs. Children and adolescents who experience the divorce of their parents also have higher rates of depressed mood, lower self-esteem, and emotional distress. Parental divorce is also associated with negative outcomes in earlier life transitions, as offspring enter young adulthood and later life. Children of divorce are more likely to experience poverty, educational failure, early and risky sexual activity, non-marital childbirth, earlier marriage, cohabitation, marital discord, and divorce. In fact, emotional problems associated with divorce actually increase during young adulthood. Understanding the magnitude of these problems and the causal mechanisms through which divorce influence these behaviors, therefore, has important social consequences.
So, di ba, anong silbi ng pamilya kung mag-aaway kayo at mahahantong sa divorce dahil sa maliit na dahilan lang?
So marriage is meant to last forever, and vows usually include the phrase, till death do us part. These are the words that most of us believe. Marriage is regarded as a sacred union between a man and a woman. Thus, it must be cherished and valued. But But what if love becomes weak and unstoppable as time passes by? What if everything changes as a person started to live a life full of misery? One of their options to solve these problems would be divorce, because if a marriage is not working anymore and only leads to fighting, then it only becomes an abuse. It requires a legal separation to any of the spouses. So ginawa ang divorce para itaman natin ang mga pagkakamali at desisyon natin sa buhay. Oo nga na sagrado ang pagpapakasal, pero meron naman tayong karapatan pumili kung ano yung nakakabuti sa atin.
And when we talk about family, nagsisettle ba tayo sa ibig sabihin ng pamilya is nanay, tatay, mga anak? We can be a family even though we're not blood. Hindi tayo magkapareho ng dugo, hindi ba? Hindi porket na family, it is talk about blood related. Tinutukoy dito na pamilya, there is love, there is respect. Na kung saan, pag nangyari yung divorce, sinidiinan niya dito na parang wala ng pamilya na nangyari doon if there is already abuse. At sinasabi ninyo na maliit na bagay to appeal this kind of divorce. Just like I have said, divorce requires a legal reason. Hindi lang siya magkakaroon ng divorce dahil sa maliit na bagay. Sabi niya nga ninyo, ang korte yung namamahala. So, korte yung namamahala. So, alam ng korte kung ano yung tama para doon sa isang issue na yon. So, yung divorce, hindi lang siya tinutukoy para maghiwalay dahil sa isang maliit na bagay, kundi sa wider na mga issues na kung saan yun yung magiging basihan din ng korte para i-appeal or magkaroon ng diborsyo.
We should be discussing ways of strengthening marriage and family, rather than spending precious time and money on unconstitutional divorce bills. According to Section 2, Article 15 of Constitution states that marriage, an inviolable social institution, is the foundation of the family and shall be protected by the state. Christian group intercessors of the Philippines said legislators should protect the family and preserve the sanctity of marriage. The government, including the legislature, should protect the family. Once you change this, you're opening a Pandora's box to destroy not only the family. You're destroying the whole nation unless we change the constitution. That was Pastor Augusto who said.
Sanctity of marriage. From the word sanctity of marriage, hindi ba masasagasaan natin yung sanctity yung ng marriage nang nag-away pa lang kayo mag-asawa? So, pangalawa na lang yung diborsyo. Actually, ang diborsyo, it protects the rights at it protects the marriage also. Kasi from the word sanctity, sa pag-away pa lang ninyo mag-asawa, sa pagtatalo pa lang ninyo mag-asawa sa araw-araw, yung sanctity ng marriage ay already nabubroke nyo na po agad. Yung vows ay nabubroke na agad. So, hindi yung diborsyo magiging dahilan para mabroke yung sanctity ng marriage.
I want to answer the claim of Ms. Trisha na sinabi niya na paano kung maulit-ulit na bugbugin siya ng lalaki or hindi naging maayos ang kanilang samahan. Where there's no assurance that people who get divorced want to find a new spouse. Every day, there are Filipinos who get married, bear children, separate, and get into relationship, regardless of what the law says. The lack of divorce law for Filipinos complicates further the marital and family problems of many Filipinos. Our government has clearly failed to respond to their needs. If the country wants to move forward, it has to confront the realities of marital and family life of Filipinos in the Philippines. Let's give other people another chance to live life with their desire. So, the divorce law needs to be legalized in the Philippines.
Sa sinabi ni Lea May na kapag nag-divorce yung isang tao, kung ang lalaki nakapag-divorce sa asawa niya is hindi na siya papakasal sa iba, yung may mga ganong sitwasyon, pero paano naman yung bata? Paano yung epekto sa bata? Kaya nga, di ba, nakukuha ng mga bata sa mga magulang yung nakikita niya. Paglaki niya, maaaring makipag-divorce din siya kasi yung paniniwala niya kasi nakikita niya yung mga magulang niya, gano'n, di ba? Yung magandang ehemplo ba yun na gano'n ang gagawin ng mga magulang sa mga bata paglaki nila? Kasi, di ba nga may sinasabi nga tayo na yun na-adapt ng mga bata sa paglaki nila.
Kasi yung mga bata kasi kapag kung ano yung nakikita nila sa mga parents nila, din yung gagawin nila. Pero kapag nag-separate kayo ng bilang nanay at tatay nag-separate kayo, yung isipin nyo naman kasi yung bata kasi sila yung maepektuhan doon. Ano pagkalaki nila tapos ikaw magkakaroon ka ng bagong pamilya. 'Di ba ikaw yung parents, yung nanay tapos gusto mo rin magpakasal sa iba. Tapos ano yung maepektuhan sa bata pag nakikita nila pag lumalaki na sila, pag nakikita nila sad pag nakikita nila na may kasama na silang ibang pamilya, tapos may kapatid sila sa tatay nila. Kasi yung mga kasi yung mga bata kasi kapag ganun kasi mahirap din kasi nilang tanggapin na yung mga kapatid nila na galing sa asawa ng kanilang parents.
At sa aming nakalat na datos, lahat ng aspeto ng paglaki ng bata ay naapektuhan dahil sa divorce. Labis na nagdaramdam ang mga bata at naapektuhan ang pag-aaral din nila, hindi ba? Iniisip niya ng pagsasama muli ng kanyang ama at ina. Dahil iba pa din ang pakiramdam pagbuo ang isang pamilya. Kaya, maging normal man ang tingin nating lahat ng mga tao sa divorce, ito na may isang malaking kasalanan sa Diyos. A couple may be granted a civil divorce and divorce. Be divorced in the eyes of the state, but their marriage will continue in the eyes of God.
Kasi pagdating nila sa school, yung mga bata, binubuli rin naman sila kasi ibig sabihin lang, bakit sila binubuli? Kasi yung parents mo naghiwalay na ganito, ganyan.
Do you believe in discipline?
Yes, we believe.
Depende na din siguro sa magulang kung paano didisiplina yung anak nila, paano nila ipapaliwanag sa anak nila kung anong nangyari during that time kung bakit nagkaroon ng divorce sa pagitan nila mag-asawa.
Oo, not all children can understand kasi yung mga naintindihan nila, pero kasi yung mga bata kasi kapag nagsabi yung parents nila ng gano'n, ine-explain nila kasi hirap kasi yung mga bata kasi hirap nilang matanggap, hindi nila matanggap yun kahit nag-explain siya sila. Bakit gano'n? Kasi tatay ko siya na gusto ko siya makasama, bakit yun nag-explain? Kasi kung mag-explain na yung mga parents niya na ganito, ganyan nangyari sa amin.
Kapag bata pa sila, hindi pa nila maintindihan. Pero kapag naglaki na sila, mas maintindihan nila. Tapos hindi nila ako na rin nag-divorce yung mga magulang nila. Sabihin nila na hindi ko gagayahin yung mga magulang ko na gano'n na sinasaktan yung mama ko, na sinasaktan yun. Parang hindi ko gagawin sa asawa ko yun kapag nagka-asawa ko kasi yun yung divorce is parang ginawa para maproteksyonan yung sarili mo kasi yun, doon ka sa marriage. Di ba? Till death do us part. Siyempre ipaglalaban niyo yung kasal niyo sa hirap at ginhawa. Saan yung pagmamahal doon kung sinasaktan ka na, kung inaabuso ka na o binubugbog ka na ng asawa mo, saan yung pagmamahal doon?
So sabi nyo, bata. When we say bata, pwede pa tayo magpaliwanag doon. Wala pa siyang kinalaman sa pag-aaway ng kanyang mama at papa. So pwede ka pa magbigay ng explanation sa kanya kung bakit nangyari yun, kung bakit naghiwalay kayo. So, paano naman yung mga bata na mas nakikita nila na binubugbog yung kanilang magulang, na nag-aaway yung kanilang magulang. So, mas nakaka-apekto yun sa kanilang utak at sa kanilang pag-aaral. Siyempre, kapag araw-araw na lang nakikita nila na nag-aaway yung mga magulang nila, puro talak ng talak, nagbubugbugan, may mga sugat na sa katawan ng mga magulang nila. So, ano yung iisipin nila na ganito pa rin yung pamilya, ganito yung maging instinct nila sa pamilya nila. So, ano yung mas makakabuti? Yung hahayaan mo yung anak na matroma doon sa mga nakikita niya, or makikipaghiwalay ka na lang, mas pipiliin mo na lang at ipapaliwanag mo sa anak mo kung bakit yung nangyayari, di ba? Tulas mo.
Alam, lahat tayo, ayan, meron tayong paniniwala, pero as a Christian and as a Catholic, as a believer, naniniwala ako, as a Catholic, naniniwala ako na hindi divorce ang sagot sa lahat ng ito.
Based on the discussion we've already discussed to you, divorce should be implemented in the Philippines. Our present situation really demanded. Reality tells us that there are many failed, unhappy marriages across the nation. Marriage is never as blissful as people expect, and divorce is never as devastating as people imagine. Divorce gives people fresh start to live better lives. Living in a marriage where love, respect, friendship, and compatibility are gone is life without hope. Let us think by other people suffering due to unhappiness brought by their marriage. What is the sense of being bonded by a piece of paper when it's actually your life? Divorce nullifies marriage, therefore giving couples the freedom to remarry and escape from unhappy relationship. Everyone should have the right to escape from a bad marriage and be happy again. Falling into wrong decision actually happens. If we legalize divorce in our country, people with failed marriage will be given a chance and freedom to choose the right one for them, so they will not suffer from marriage that is not working anymore. choose the remedies that will help them in obtaining their self-actualization. The remedy is divorce. Given the aforementioned discussion, we strongly claim that legalizing divorce would be a big help for Filipinos. Life is too short to marry to someone you don't want to be married to. Divorce is a choice, and we all should have a freedom to make choices. Simplify the divorce process and let the couples continue on their lives and to find the partner they will be happy with to live their lives. Furthermore, in case where union is more harmful and beneficial, a divorce can be benevolent and less hurtful way of severing ties with your partner. When the marriage is no longer viable, divorce should be an option.